Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us on Standpoint. We're on that particular issue in Rivers State, where the president has now intervened in the crisis there with an 8-point resolution. Now, some have said, look, that resolution is a welcome development. Any solution is a solution, whether it's a political solution. But some have called it a constitutional crisis. Let's bring in someone from Rivers State. He's a member of the Ijaw Youth Council. He is Bedford Berafat Benjamin. He joins me virtually. Good to have you join us.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be on the show this afternoon.
So I'm not sure if you followed my conversation with Reno Mokri. If you did, I would have loved to ask you what you make of some of the things he said, because he said, look, this particular resolution and intervention by the president is a welcome development.
All right. Of course, everybody has their own opinion to the issues of ground. He has given his own angle to the best of his knowledge. But for us, as your people, this is a test, a true test, and that the democracy that we, the Nigerian state, fought for over the years is being threatened. Of course, the interference, of other interested party is quite alarming, and of course, everybody wants solution. That's the reason why interferences are being made to ensure that the solution is vetted. But of course, for us as the job people, we are solidly behind our father, our leader, who has indeed doggedly stood for what is true and what is justice. Justice is very, very critical for us as a nation in this particularly very dicey moment in our democracy. This is a true test of what Nigeria and the democracy that we believe in. And of course, if this issue in Rivers State is not well managed, it's not micromanaged to the best of our knowledge, it will lead to the break of law and order, and that will not be very good for the economy, because Rivers State sits as a very sensitive state in the Nigerian, economic projection in the next couple of years.
And you talked about justice. What does justice mean in this particular situation? And would you take justice over peace?
All right. What I mean by justice, of course, peace is golden, like they said, but peace must be justified. The issue of going to Abuja, the Aso Rock, to bring out resolution that does not reflect the position of the people is not justice for us, and that will just give temporary peace. Of course, that is just like a time bomb that is waiting to explode. The issues that is on ground must be dealt with constitutionally. It's a constitutional issue that is on ground. 27% or between 5%, sat and said no, they want to impeach a governor, and and the judiciary will play a very key role in the role as a role of the threesome in the federal system. And the judiciary, the executive, and the legislature. Of course, the judiciary is saddled with the responsibility of interpreting whatever the law says. And the law has said that persons that have become from one political party to another political party does not have the moral justification to remain in that seat. There must be rerun that must be conducted, and that is the Constitution. So anything that is done outside that Constitution, gentleman agreement, does not fit in, because in the Constitution of Nigeria, Federal Republic of Nigeria, is blind to gentleman agreement. It's blind to gentleman agreement. But of course, what the Constitution has said must hold sway, not personal opinion. Of course, this is politics, and the federal government, to the best of our knowledge as a job people, has played politics. Trying to woo a governor, an opposition governor to itself. That is what is clearly playing out, and that is not justice for us. As much as we are fighting and clamoring for peace, like Fubara has rightly said, that's for the sake of peace. You will let certain things slide. Nevertheless, justice must be served. We believe in the Constitution of this country. We believe in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So anything that must bring peace must be constitutional. There is nothing anywhere in the world that is unconstitutional peace. It does not work that way. Peace, it must be constitutional, and that is what it is. And that is what we believe in.
Mr. Benjamin, parties all over the world sign agreements just to end, long-term wars. And so some will say, look, whether there are cases in court or not, an agreement sometimes, it is people who took those cases to court. And so those people can go back to court and drop those cases. But I also wanted to ask you, you have talked about I hope I don't lose my line of thought, because we're talking about earlier how justice has not been done, and how, because it will also almost seem as though this has an ethnic coloration. Is there an ethnic coloration to this particular issue on ground?
No, of course, there's no ethnic coloration. If you watch very carefully, the Ekwere community, the Ekwere local government area in River State also gave a position. They stated their position very clearly, that indeed that they cannot, they're not part of such activities that former Governor Wike is doing. Of course, it's not an ethnic matter. It's a River State matter. The River State yesterday, River State civil servants and other well-meaning organizations came in solidarity, came in mass in solidarity. It was a River State yesterday.
Benjamin Bedford, are you still there? Bedford, I want to be sure that you are there, because it looks like I've lost connection with you.
Because the constitution of the Nigerian state supersede any form of gentleman agreement. Of course, the other party, they ran very, very swiftly to say they have withdrawn their petition against Governor Sim. Of course, they know that petition does not have any.
But is this not a win-win situation, Mr. Bedford? Because when you look at the fact that, on one hand, that impeachment proceeding, this resolution says drop the impeachment proceedings. Just hold on, Mr. Bedford. On one hand, on one hand, the resolution says drop all impeachment proceedings, and on the other hand, it says the 27 lawmakers will remain as lawmakers. So is that not a win-win for all parties?
People that have resigned from a system should be reinstated in the system because one speaks. That's not anywhere. How will you say the 27 members that have defected to another political party should come back to that political party because we are looking for because we want a peace to gentleman agreement? Well, it does not work that way. It does not work that way. So what the governor, like the barrister from this other side of the end, or this side of the coin, as rightly said, they have not received any directive whatsoever to withdraw a matter, because that matter is a constitutional matter. And if this matter is carefully handled constitutionally, it will lead this country to a position of anarchy. And that's not what the president of the federation needs at this critical time in Nigerian politics. Of course, now that the River State refinery is functional, we don't want anything that will put River State into a chaotic mode. Because, of course, that agreement cannot stand the test of time. It's unconstitutional. The president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, in the of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, knows that it's not constitutional. When he was governor of Lagos State, some of these activities came to truncate his governance. Of course, the people rose and said, no, this cannot happen. And he stood his ground. And justice was served. This is the same thing that is happening in this era. If it was former Governor Wike, he cannot allow this. You can imagine that a sitting governor went to River State and you withdraw a bet to say, no, it was not possible from River State.
And you said, Benjamin, that you said that, look...
peace must be achieved constitutionally. Allow the constitution have its just cause. And of course, the peace that is clamored.
All right, so Benjamin, just give me a minute. I want to come in. You talked about how there is now the refinery in Port Harcourt that's the Port Harcourt Refinery 1. It has been fixed, and so you can't allow any sort of situation jeopardize that in River State and bring crisis to River State. The president is the national security. People, they will say the governor is the chief security officer of the country, of the state rather. The president is also the chief security officer of the country. Is it not within his duty to ensure that, look, the Niger Delta is a cash cow of the country at this moment. River State is one of those states, to ensure that, look, everything goes well in that state and the country is not destabilized? Benjamin, did you get that question? All right, so we'll take,
hello.
I want to be sure that you can hear me. Can you hear me? All right, looks like there's a disconnection somewhere. We'll just take a break now. When we return, we'll try and reconnect with Benjamin, and then we'll return. We'll continue the conversation we have very few minutes left, so we'll get his final thoughts on the issue.